Days of Our Lives prognostications. Sami crushes Belle and Amp, Vivian blows it. Days of Our Lives spoilers. Will Chad search for a live Abigail after Clyde's final clue, Billy Flynn's exit strategy? Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. After watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Days of Our Lives prognostications are in, and we're going to talk about Sami Brady crushing Belle Black and Vivian Alamain blowing it in a big way. We've also got prognostications for EJ DiMera. Days of Our Lives spoilers. Belle's confession and Sami's fury. Belle confesses her passions to a slow EJ on Wednesday's Days of Our Lives. And, guess who walks by and hears her? It's Hurricane Sami, and she's bothered when she catches Belle with EJ, and she says some veritably harsh effects to her family dearest on Thursday. So, if you flash back, Sami was furious the last time that Belle and EJ got involved, and that was times agone and was just nothing further than a flash in the visage. This time, Sami is going to snappily realize there's real passions involved, and probably on both sides, and she'll be jealous of her little family and bothered. Sami is going to tell Belle that EJ is just using her to make his wife jealous, but Belle knows that EJ has real passions for her and vice versa, although Belle's been a little too upset about her career in optics and his recent alleged crimes to take that vault of faith and really get into a relationship with him. But with EJ shot and conceivably dying and Sami pushing her buttons, I suppose we can look for Belle to stake her claim on her Joe. Teen drama. Holly, Doug, Tate, and Sophia's prom night entanglements. Our alternate Days of Our Lives vaticination. Holly Jonas asks Doug Williams to the hop. So, Holly has ditched Tate Black because this rearmost thing was just too important, and that was him calling up Julie Williams and ratting out Doug about the choker simply because Tate was jealous. But really, ever since Holly went to Paris and Tate incontinently slept with Sophia Choi and got her pregnant, she and Tate have been heading for Splitsville, and now it's sanctioned. So, coming week, Holly's talking to Doug about his passions, and he's made his passions for her veritably clear, but they may be talking about his passions about the Julie thing. Plus, that same day, Sophia is there comforting and supporting Tate. Both those effects be on Monday. Days of Our Lives spoilers. Trouble in the Kiriakis mansion. And also Tate is stupefied to find Doug in Holly's room at the Kiriakis manse on Tuesday. Not sure why Tate just traipses into her room, right? So, he really doesn't belong there, and I do and suppose Holly's going to like that. And also in April spoilers, we know that Tate's going to ask Sophia to hop, and she's fully smitten with him each over again. So, I anticipate Holly to pay back Tate by asking Doug to the hop. And since we all know hop night is when a lot of teens stay out all night and get frisky, we could see Tate hooking up with Sophia again. It's not like he can get her more pregnant, right? And Holly may actually hit the waist with Doug since he's crazy about her, and Holly will be irked that Tate is getting close to Sophia again. The only thing is, Doug has real passions for Holly, but she may just be using him for vengeance. But the question is, would Doug mind if she used him for vengeance? Perhaps not. Titans preemption. Xander, Philip, and corporate power plays at DEA. Our third vaticination. Titan officially takes over DEA. So, you know, for a while now, Xander Cook has been conspiring with Philip Kiriakis to take over Diera Enterprises, and they indeed got Wei-Shin from the Diera board to agree, and it looks like it's time to seal the deal. Could be this week. EJ's at death's door. Kristen DiMera is in trouble with the law, so the company's at a weak spot. On Monday, Alex Kiriakis is considering commodity that Stephanie Johnson has told him about this situation, and on Wednesday, Philip and Xander make a big commercial move. Thursday, Alex tells Sarah Horton how he feels about this whole Xander situation, but it's not going to be good timing to come clean just because of this implicit preemption. Thursday on Days of Our Lives. And also on Thursday, a Days of Our Lives spoiler says Philip and Xander get tyrannous with Gabby Hernandez. So, although we know Alex wants to tell Xander, and he's going to make that clear to Stephanie, when he actually does go to tell Xander about Philip's fraud, I suppose he's going to see that Xander's all hyped up about the Diera preemption, and he's presumably going to cut off Alex. And he may not want to foul over Titan business and just decides to leave this Xander secret alone for now. And the reason I suppose the Demra preemption happens this week is the part about Philip and Xander getting tyrannous with Gabby. It seems like they'd only be suitable to do that if they got control of Diera and were her heads. EJ is helpless and in a sanitarium bed. JJ Devereaux finds a gun in Kristen's bag this week. He may arrest her, and that may be what gets Wei Shin to pull the detector, no pun intended. Days of Our Lives prognostications Sami chews out Johnny over EJ's situation. Our fourth Days of Our Lives vaticination Sami chews out Johnny DiMera and shocks her son. So, Sami's back not only because Roman Brady and Johnny have been calling her about the whole, messy rape origin story coming out, but also because EJ's been shot. Sami is formerly bothered about Belle hooking up with EJ and saying she loves him by the time she and Johnny talk latterly this week. So, on Friday, spoilers say Sami has a delicate discussion with Johnny, and they're fighting in EJ's room at University Hospital. It looks like Sami's frustrated with Johnny, and she has got a cutlet pointing in his face in a spoiler print I can't show you for brand reasons. It looks veritably tense between mama and son, and in the Day of Days promo, there's a scene with Sami hugging Johnny that's veritably sweet, and I'm sure it starts out that way, but I do and suppose Sami is going to agree with how their son has verbally attacked EJ and cut him out of his life. Sami is the one who was EJ's victim in this situation, so I'm guessing she thinks she's the bone who gets to decide how his conduct are interpreted, but the problem is Johnny has passions that he's entitled to. But still, I do and suppose Sami is going to let Johnny run around calling his pater a robber without saying a thing or two about it. Vivian's vengeance exposing Philip's fraud and stirring the pot. Our fifth and final vaticination Vivian blows up the dirty secret to Xander. So, it could be time up on Philip's fraud this week on Days of Our Lives. So, Alex wants to tell Xander, these are the spoilers I talked about a second ago, I went and go back through them all, and also Philip and Xander are making their preemption moves, and Sarah is feeling really shamefaced after this talk with Alex, and also on Friday, commodity much worse happens. Vivian Alamain is out of Statesville captivity. She's back in Salem. She shows up at the Kiriakis' manse, and Kate Roberts and Philip are happy to see Vivian out of Statesville. They had a champagne bottle out presumably to celebrate the whole Diarra preemption, and also Vivian is there, and Philip asks if she stopped by to say farewell to him, but Vivian says she came to get what's hers. So, Kate's the bone who transferred Vivian to captivity by dropping a song on her, so that's strike one. However, that could be strike two, and if Xander overhears any of this or if Vivian decides to blow up Philip and Kate, if Philip doesn't offer Vivian the payday that she wants. We've heard from our leaker that Philip leaves in May under a pall of shame after being exposed, and Sarah's in deep duty with Xander by also as well, but also in fall, Philip's supposed to be back to try and make amends. We'll see how it goes. But, it might be his surrogate ma Vivian who's stirring the pot and gets everything blown up. Days of Our Lives spoilers will Chad search for a live Abigail after Clyde's final clue, Billy Flynn's exit strategy. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Chad DiMera might search for an alive Abigail DiMera after Clyde Weston's final indication. Could that be Billy Flynn's exit strategy now that we know he's cleaner hopping from Days to the Young and the Restless? Since Days of Our Lives flicks so far in advance, Flynn still has numerous months left on a screen in Salem. Still, we should go ahead and start allowing about Chad's eventual exit since there'll have to be some explanation. In an interview with Variety, Flynn expressed his stopgap that Days suckers would support whoever might come by and play Chad, if there ever is that case. That makes it sound like Flynn's exit could pave the way for a Chad recast sooner or laterally. With that in mind, we should consider a story that was left hanging when Clyde fell into a coma. Before Clyde landed in that slow state, Chad was hoping to find out where Abigail's remains were. Grounded on Clyde's commentary, plenitude of Days suckers suspected Abigail might actually be alive. Clyde could unmask the whole story before the coma drama played out, but he might bargain with his information once he awakens. It's easy to imagine Clyde summoning Chad and attesting that Abigail is deceased after all. Of course, Clyde may not be willing to discover Abigail's exact position. Still, the villain may simply tease him with the knowledge that Abigail is still out there nearly, if Chad can't meet Clyde's demands. Clyde might indeed offer up some mystery that could turn into a trail for Chad to follow. Still, maybe Chad could resolve to find Abigail and reunite their family, if that's the case. Perhaps Chad will take the kiddies on a trip around the world and hope that Abigail will turn up along the way. It'd be an easy strategy to get Chad off screen for an indefinite period of time, and it'd leave the door open for a Chad recast to return with or without Abigail latterly on. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Clyde may make some alive Abigail prognostications if he eventually comes out of his coma, so stay tuned for updates on any major news for Chad. Thanks for watching these videos, please hit the subscribe button for more updated news.